Here we are. We're going live. I forgot my little woke week thing. Let's do it because it's not even real. But
Woke week, woke week.
it's not really woke week. This is election. We're talking election. I haven't done anything on the election except a couple of videos telling everybody to calm down and breathe and all that other stuff because everyone was up so late. I was watching Steve Bannon's The War Room. These guys are great. Bannon was on there. I swear, the guy hasn't changed his two shirts in like 4 days. He's been working 24/7. But I did not want to get in on the broadcasting because it's too high pressure for me. I like to be more laid back. So I thought I would do a special episode. So this is broadcasting live on the Locals site and also on my new Facebook group, which is just kind of invitation only. So it's not that many people watching this, I don't think, but that's good. And Bruce Longley is here. Bruce, welcome to the show. I've been doing these Facebook Live videos, and I've been wanting to do some with other people besides just myself yapping away. So here we are, Bruce. I was talking to you via text, and you've been keeping up with stuff, and we had a telephone conversation yesterday. So because you're part of my Locals community, I thought let's get Bruce in here. And maybe this would be a way to, because I want to, for other people who are watching on tom.locals.com. Oh, I have a little title there. Let's put it up there.
Let's put it up.
I have a banner, right? Boom.
Oh, yeah.
This is like high tech, man. I got my StreamYard banners and everything. So Bruce Longley is a member over there, and we engage with him on the site. So I thought I would talk to him about the election, and he has the latest news. And also, this is part of, I want to, all of the subscribers at my tom.locals.com, I want to engage them and have them as kind of guests on my show. It's like talk radio, right?
Yeah, it is. It's been really nice. And just also to give a little kudos to you for your breathing video. My son and I watched it, and I got tired after 20 seconds, and you were holding your breath for 3 minutes.
Oh, the breath holding one, not the relaxation one. Yeah.
No, the one with that you do 2 or 3 times a day. And
yeah.
the Norwegian method, what's his name? The Wim
Hof. Wim Hof.
Yeah.
And so it's just 30 deep breaths, and then the breath hold. I did this morning. I did a 2 minute and a 4 minute, just 2 rounds.
Wow. No, it's good stuff. I got winded after 20 seconds, and so I said, okay, I have to do this in the morning. And so and then I did. But so anyway, I just want to say, and also on the debate, we had a nice little chat going on tom.locals.com, which was really fun.
Yeah, I got to do more of those live chats. And also, this is going live via, I posted the link from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Because Locals doesn't have a live stream feature within their site yet. So we have to do it on YouTube and then post the link. So hopefully we'll be doing that soon, live video with the live chat. That'd be the best way to do it.
Right. Well, hopefully I won't get that cut for you, because my first news right off the top is that the War Room had the plug pulled while I was watching it, after I got the most exciting of a former, I think, Kansas City Attorney General about Pennsylvania's laws that were just made, and it got pulled live. Boom, cut.
Who pulled it?
YouTube, and then I went to Facebook, and I've been sharing the War Room, Steve Bannon's, and people are loving it, spreading. I think election night he had more visitors, but like 30,000 viewers at a time.
Yeah,
and went dark. The plug is pulled, so you have to go directly to his website. His Twitter account's blocked, and his advice is that Trump won. They control all the levers. Stay calm. That, and he sort of was preventing, having lots of guests on and of good, backgrounds and knowledgeable. And what the person was just finished saying is that in Pennsylvania, they made law changes that treat Democratic votes differently than Republican votes, literally within very short time frame. And they also, any area that
based on what? Based on area, like Democratic areas, or
in general, Democrat votes could be recounted with when other one, they can have a chance to go back to correct their ballots, and Republicans can't. And also in Republican areas, they had what were the numbers? I think it was like 1,100 miles and 72,000 people. They would have a polling box, a ballot box where you could put your ballot. And in Democrat areas, they were every 4,000 people had access.
Uh-huh.
So literally under the equal opportunity, or equal under the law, equal when,
Like equal protection.
Equal protection under the law is clearly violated. And so I think that, and then all of a sudden that guy Guest left, and he was attorney general of, I think, Kansas. And then the next segment was stopping, and Dark, boom, pulled.
It's amazing what's happened. Well, first of all, over the past 3 days, 1/3 of President Trump's tweets were censored by Twitter. So they're really, the thing is, it's so dumb of them, because we're right now, because Zuckerberg's in on it, and I'm using his platform. I'm right now live streaming to Zuckerberg's site. But what does it do? Because, we all know about it. Now we're all talking about Steve Bannon in the War Room. Some people are probably hearing about him for the first time. When they block the president's tweets, they just get more attention. It's like,
I think so. I think you're right. My analogy to my friend, I've been trying to be calm, and I'm not angry. I'm a very nice person. I met a little group of two girls and their cousin and this woman who was going to get some great pizza at Raza Pizza in Jersey City. And it was so nice. I was enjoying the beautiful day. I'm pretty calm. But then, when all of a sudden they start pulling the plug, you're right. It gets your more attention. And my analogy is it's almost like they just bombed Pearl Harbor, and they're going to wake up the giant of the American people, because we have an innate sense of right or wrong, and Steve Bannon had this data analytics guy I could probably give you, who was so spot on and was right about Arizona. He was right about every call he's made.
This is the People's Pundit.
The People's Pundit. Exactly. Yeah. You got to follow the People's Pundit. All data. And they had no agenda. It was just tell it like it is. Good, bad, or, indifferent. And
well, here's what was amazing about him is his name is, he's the People's Pundit, and he's what, Richard?
Yeah, it's Richard. Here's the B. I'll get it in a minute.
But
yeah,
he was so dead on, because he's really great. This guy is like, he's kind of an even more nerdier version of the people you see on Fox News with the maps. Bill Hemmer and stuff like that. He knows every district. He knows every the demographics of every district in every swing state and all that kind of stuff.
He knows the Norwegian population, the Italian ancestry.
Yeah.
And he knows the people that are normally the most shy, that don't talk to pollsters. I think it was like suburban women and black men between 30 and 65. And he guarantees no name, no coverage, just talk. And so he had real data from real people and knew everything from 2016 and compared it to now. And that if in this area, Arizona, if Trump has above 30%, he's going to pick up from the last election.
That's why he had such encouraging news for Bannon on the War Room, because the People's Pundit he went through each district and he said, I know who's in this district. I know how many votes are left. I know what they did in 2016. Trump is outperforming. Trump is overperforming. He's over. So the one thing that he didn't have, because he said no, he said Michigan's good. He said Georgia's definitely good. North Carolina's good. Pennsylvania is good. They can't catch him. The reason he didn't have that data is that, according to his science, they could not have banked all of those pre-votes, the early voting. There's no way, because he said things like, for them to have enough early voting to counteract what Trump is doing tonight, they would need to have 90% turnout with their early vote, which that's what we're finding out they had.
And that's what Michigan and Wisconsin had, like the highest ever, I think.
Now, how do you get that? So that's the funny thing, is they're saying, wow, that's unbelievable. 90% turnout. That's really a real get out the vote effort. But in reality, let's talk about what you have to do to get 90% voter turnout, which is third world dictatorship type of numbers. I don't know if Kim Jong-un gets 90% turnout. So how do they do it? I think we know how they do it. They go into neighborhoods that have, high rises and other buildings, and these are very urban neighborhoods where everyone is close together, and they assign certain people status to collect votes, and they go door to door with the ballots. And they pre-register, they help them fill out the ballot, they take the ballot, they put it into their knapsack, they take it down. It's called voter harvesting.
Yeah.
The question is, I don't really know this. Everyone knows voter harvesting's bad. And it's kind of illegal because they say, no, you can't do voter harvesting.
They made it legal in California. They've made it legal.
They did? Yeah.
Something, right.
Well, what they're doing is, obviously, if it's either illegal or quasi-legal, because it says you can't go around and take ballots from hundreds of people.
Right. People
fill out their mail-in ballots, and they're supposed to either drop it in the mailbox themselves or give it to a trusted friend. They have one friend, right?
To fill out like who the name is of that person.
Yeah. Oh, you do? Well, okay. So,
but they don't, and I think they actually
don't
fill it out for people. I think that
they fill it out for people. We've seen them. We've seen the videos. James O'Keefe has done it. So they definitely engage in this kind of thing. So somebody should. What I want to do.
They pay you $100 for your ballot.
Yeah. So I think we can assume that the turnout for Obama was about as high with organic turnout that you're going to get, right?
Right.
And they did have some versions of mail-in balloting in the past years. They just didn't have the universal ones where they mail all the ballots, right? So when they mail all the ballots, like Trump said, it really gives them, and Bill Barr said this as well, gives them the ability to pre-fill these things out, to essentially, when they use the word fraud, people say, "Oh, fraud! They're filling out, false names and whatever." It doesn't have to be fraud. All it has to be is ballot harvesting, because there are hundreds of thousands of people in these neighborhoods that are not engaged civically. They're not really. Right. They didn't register to vote. They do the instant register, and then they get their vote. They fill it out for them, and they put it in the bag. It is voter fraud, but it just might be legal. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, they took it further it was a Democrat who made a law that changed the law that basically, in general, Republicans vote more on the day of the election, and Democrats do the early voting. And now, under the rules being changed for COVID, they made the laws to favor the voting on paper and before, and they disenfranchised the voting by shutting down how many places to vote, actually.
Yeah.
In the areas that were red. So there were less opportunities to where you could go, to make lines worse. So clearly there were two different treatments in Pennsylvania. This is, me just remembering a conversation I heard on the War Room that was live about an hour ago. And it just, when I heard that level of discrepancy of treatment, it's crazy.
Again, what if it is, it's obviously shenanigans, or whatever word you want to use, malarkey or whatever. But what if they get all these votes in, they count them, maybe even if they do a recount and they throw some ballots out, because they're going to find some ones that are absolutely either, I'm sure there was a number of people who voted twice because somebody came to their building, helped them fill out their ballot, they submitted them, then they went into their local precinct, they allowed them to vote again. And if if your name's not on the rolls, they do a provisional. I've done that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. In Virginia, they counted all the provisionals for the Democrat candidate, but they didn't do it for the Republican. And you're not supposed to use the provisionals unless necessary. And so sometimes they're adding them right to the vote count.
Yeah,
illegally. And by the way, some on the War Room, they had mentioned, one person was saying, they need to hit this so hard, meaning they could actually get DNA from all the envelopes and trace it. And you could find out one person and do handwriting scanning recognition and really go after the people that did it, because there probably are a few major, culprits that are doing it. And Tom, can I bring up yesteryear with you that you and I have been in the belly of the beast, and we were
down there.
We were down in Philly in early 2000s for 2003 into 2003 for the
It was the Bush re-election, and we did. It was like the blogs for Bush people, and we went down and knocked on doors in Philly. And was it South Philly that we did the
Liberties? It was sort of on the edge of. I remember part of it being like Northern Liberties, maybe South Philly is more Italian. This was more, the row houses and the, with the stoops out in front.
Yeah, that's where we learned. That was the first discovering that when we were knocking on doors, the ones that had American flags were all Republican. It was like you saw the American flag, knock, knock, knock. They opened the door. They said, yeah, I'm voting Bush. And then you went to the next one, didn't have a flag, knock, knock, knock. They say, no, go away. We don't want you. So it was just funny. Like that's why this year, when you go around our neighborhood, you see Biden signs and American flags.
But I'll tell you though, one thing I remember hearing from one of the Republican organizers was that they were told that every 4 years, union aggressive people, and I lived in Philly for a while and had a problem with Teamsters, like shutting down a low budget film and organizing a warehouse that half of it was union, the other wasn't. They're known as for patronage jobs, no-show jobs on toll roads. That's why the Philadelphia airport is one of the most expensive places in the planet. To change a light bulb ends up costing $22,000, and because you got to pay 400 people. And maybe some of this has changed, but not much. That every 4 years they would come and terrorize the black community and said Republicans want to start lynching again. They're gonna and use the race card every 4 years. Then they disappear, do nothing, and then they come back and say you gotta vote Democrat, and they come in and really hit the neighborhoods hard on the race card.
Yeah. And that's obviously they have that. And that's the regular deal. So, if they increased turnout from
that's pre-social media, though. I just want to, they do this door to door,
But now we have neighborhoods in Detroit, in Philly, in I keep saying Green Bay, but it's not. Where's the city in Wisconsin that they really
Milwaukee?
They did? Milwaukee, of course. So what they did, I said this yesterday on the local side. I turned on my camera and said, I got to say this. Now it makes sense why Joe Biden it was the most laid back campaign ever, because his handlers knew what they had done. Yeah, they were like, Joe, you can stay in the basement. We've already got the votes. We've got 1.1 million in this district. We've got 5,000. They had the votes in bags ready to go. They pre-counted them in some places. In Pennsylvania, they post-counted them.
Leaking it to the Biden. Yes. They were leaking them all the information they had.
Yeah. And that's why we had. So they were doing this. And of course, the Trump team knew about it, because that's why Donald Trump kept coming out and saying the mail-in ballot is it's ripe with fraud. He knew what was going to happen on election night. So he should have come out and been more specific. And he should have said exactly what they were doing. But he said he kept coming out and saying, oh, the millions of ballots, they're mailing them out. We don't know where they're going. They're going in the river. Like, it was all very ambiguous, and it sounded kind of conspiracy-like, but he knew what was happening. That's why Hillary Clinton said under no circumstances should he concede. That's why the district attorney came out ahead of time and said, no, Philly, he's going to win Philly. It's just going to happen later that night. Like, they knew everything.
Right. I think they didn't know how big the wave was going to be.
No, they didn't. They were like, oh, we're going to they thought they were going to win by millions.
Mistakes. I'm hoping the wave, when they realized, all of a sudden they did say, hey, you better vote in person. I think they've got the feel that maybe it was coming. I don't know. But in the last few, I left Banyan at 3 a.m. or 3:30 on election night with his data analytics going through, and he had been right on Florida. Everything. I hadn't seen him make a mistake all night. He was in a battle with the people from, what's the guy, New York Times, 529, or no, what's not 529? And also from the Fox News data guy. They attack him personally, being wrong, but I think he was spot on. And basically, one of the legal guys on Banyan's was saying, no, they have to get people with the bag of votes, where the votes are being counted, with sheriffs, with state troopers, and they got to sleep with them. And because when you left at night, all of a sudden, oh no, the people are tired, they need to sleep. We'll count in the morning. And next thing you know, 4 to 5 in the morning, 135,000 votes, all for Biden, 0 for Trump, get dropped off and flip the whole narrative. And Bannon, when you think about it, I even think it could be as deep, and I'm not a conspiracy theory type, but they probably arrested him to take him off the table.
Oh yeah, no, I think what about Brad Parscale?
Yeah.
I think that thing was set up.
Maybe they paid his girlfriend to say something, heard something. When he got arrested, he came out nice as could be and very, listening to all the police officers. By the way, I want to slip in one other news item. Candace Owens came online on Facebook Live and made an announcement, which is, as she looked into the fact checkers of Facebook and who they are and how she had been, dinged by them a number of times, it turns out I'm not sure if he's the main guy, if they have 10 people or 5 groups, or a reporter for CNN for 22, or someone that worked for CNN for 22 years is one of Facebook's fact checkers.
Yeah, of course. Right.
So and so she's starting a major lawsuit with heavy legal powers, top in the country. The one for the Covington boy, his attorney, and they're suing Facebook. And Mark Zuckerberg.
She's fantastic, and it's no surprise. I think they got more than CNN guy. Facebook from Zuckerberg down, they're major lefties. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the case. But I'm going to play this because I sent you the Michelle Malkin thing yesterday. This is something that she posted yesterday, but a lot of people don't listen to her either. They're like, "Oh, Michelle Malkin, like they dismiss her out of hand."
Oh, you sent me that.
Yes.
Someone sent me that. Was that you?
I sent it to you. Yes.
Okay.
And so in this video, I'll play like a couple of minutes from it.
I'd love to hear it. It was
and it shows you Zuckerberg and his wife funded this effort that set up those districts to have 90% turnout. And it's basically a ballot stuffing. It's a ballot harvesting scheme that is paid for by people like Soros and other
$500,000 to target Democrat areas.
Yes.
500,000, I think.
I will share my screen and let's get the Chrome tab here. I'm going to share it with the sound so you can see it. And it is this one. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, she's great. That woman right there.
Marxist playbook is not about winning an election.
Angel book.
Ending them all together. And that is why we see this push to universal mail ballots and this avalanche of lawsuits for the removal of voter ID, signature verification standards, and the expansion of vote harvesting. This is engineered chaos. Mm-hmm. And the outcome is that we are not going to know who our president is on November 3rd.
A galaxy of left-wing groups are audaciously implementing the plan under the guise of protecting elections. One of them is the Center for Tech and Civic Life. It just so happens that this outfit, based in Chicago and founded in 2012, has showered more than $6 million in the 5 largest cities in the crucial swing state of Wisconsin, where Trump won with less than a 1% margin of victory. The group fielded over 1,100 applications.
I'm going to freeze that because I have her.
1,100. Yep.
It's all the cities where they're where the ballots are coming in last minute. It's all of these cities that were funded $10 million, $8 million, $3 million from Zuckerberg, and she's got all the cities and the amounts.
Not 500,000, 500 million, I think he gave.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It was 10 million per city. It was like 10 million, 8 million, 9 million. So what they can do with that is it's very simple. They just take the money and they go into the neighborhoods. They have the ballots printed. They do the whole thing. They pre-register. They fill it out. They sign them. They bank them. And that's how you get 90% turnout. And Zuckerberg paid for it. He also, well, let's watch a little more of the video here. This is their group. It's called.
You're tying. Oh my, keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
Here we go. Listen.
That is big.
Nationwide for a purported COVID-19 response grant program to provide funding to U.S.
government money
offices
paid
to
for
help
this.
ensure that they have the critical resources they need to safely serve every voter in 2020. But these operators, you see, have zero public health expertise, and there is nothing nonpartisan about their tax-exempt enterprise. COVID is a ruse for election meddling on behalf of Joe Biden in Democratic strongholds in battleground states. The Center for Tech and Civic Life's director, Tiana Epps Johnson, is a vocal Trump hater and a former Obama Foundation fellow. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chan forked over $250 million to the center. And Trump-bashing Google YouTube is a top corporate partner. More donors include the Rockefeller Brothers Fund and the Democracy Fund, which was founded by never-Trump billionaire and eBay former chairman Pierre Omidyar. Wisconsin talk show host Vicki McKenna told me about suspicious ballot harvesting activity in liberal Madison, a top recipient.
Okay, that's Madison, Wisconsin. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing that because we've seen the whole thing. It's totally funded, and they got government money as a COVID project. Except that the far left people that that run this, it's a Organizing for America. It's a Obama Alinsky operation, and they take the federal money for COVID, and they say we're doing this to help people who are suffering from COVID get to the polls, but they put it only in inner cities where they can bank those Democrat votes, and they ignore the entire rest of the country. It's unbelievable.
Tom, even though I saw that clip in the election, my son's birthday coming, all these things going on, you know, and then when I'm in a different zone on the war room, I'm not always, normally I'm good at pulling things together, but you felt like they just flooded the zone with so many things, it was hard to follow. But what you just said is like such a big point. I mean, that is crazy, and it ties into what we started off with who are they blocking? This is so serious. It's
so that comes to my theory, Bruce, is that in terms of thinking positive, I mentioned to you yesterday Obi-Wan Kenobi. You remember, if I had the video on my screen, I would share it as just a fun clip. But it's the clip from Star Wars where Darth Vader kills Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes. But Obi-Wan Kenobi says, "If you strike me down, Darth, I will be more powerful than this is my lightsaber." Yeah. And then Darth Vader's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, you know. And zoom, he kills him. Luke Skywalker, no, you know. And then, of course, he comes back, Luke, feel the force, you know. So he becomes more powerful as an angel, as a fallen angel, than he was.
A trainer,
and so
energy. Yeah.
So if they do this, if they knock out Trump, and you know, it's a combination. When I say that, I'm not talking about like, voter fraud, knocking out Trump. I'm talking about from the very beginning. If it's the Russia investigation, the FBI, Comey, Organizing for America, Obama spying on his campaign, the impeachment, Adam Schiff, all these, the phony investigations, the phony scandals, and all this other stuff, and then this voter thing, which ironically was paid for with Trump's COVID money, used to destroy him. When they do that, it's going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we already saw it with Candace Owens. You're going to have people in the deplorable world who pick up the mantle of Trump. If they kill him, he'll be like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he'll still be there. He'll be out giving rallies. He'll be doing things. You'll have the Trump personality, but you won't have Trump to kick around anymore, to borrow the Dick Nixon phrase. And perhaps it could spawn 1,000 points of conservatism, deplorableness.
Some new leaders that are younger blood, and potentially he could come back and run, but he's untethered by a government role for the 4 years. And what we could start, as you said, you create the resistance. This could actually fire up a bigger wave.
Yeah,
because I think was the Social Contract. What was the new Netflix social about the big media and the control of the
it was like the Social Conundrum or something like that.
Anyway, the power, I think people are really ready, and I've started to see comments on Facebook that they're done and they're moving to Parler, they're moving to other platforms. And I've never been a boycotter. I used to think, maybe I should make a movie, be the producer of only conservative actors, or conservative actors to do voiceovers for company that are the actors are aligned with the values of the product they're selling, not someone who's going to like badmouth them behind their back and But I'm like, I don't roll that way. Let people, do what they want, say what they want, freedom of speech. But now you do feel like you're enabling these people that are becoming bad actors. And even one of the earlier, investors, Roger McNamee, who has the book Zucked Out, who invested in Facebook, who told Zuckerberg not to sell out for $1 billion and brought Carol Sandburg into brought Sandberg into Facebook. And he's saying these companies, for the first time, there's not a service or a product. You're the fuel, and they're just making money off all your information, and it's free.
Yeah.
But they use addictive algorithms for children, which are supposed to be illegal. They have all these, and that's I think people now, when they're editing, they literally blocked, like Stephen Miller's tweet saying there's an announcement coming up about a legal ruling. That he didn't say we won.
Oh, they're blocking the most innocuous stuff. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, you say
so, but it's just proving. And the healthy thing about that is that no one trusts these fools. Nobody trusts Google and Facebook anymore. Nobody trusts the media. They don't trust the media. In the old days, they did. They don't anymore. Nobody trusts public health officials. Nobody trusts Fauci. Even the people who like Fauci, they don't really trust him. They're just like, oh, I like Fauci. I like science. They know he's a snow job. They know that they're being lied to all the time. So what happens then? I mean, our institutions are useless. We know they're useless, but now half the country knows they're useless. And then the other half is just blindly following anyway, but they kind of know they're useless and they know everything is just propaganda. But when you get to that, when it comes down to that no one trusts these people anymore, only good can come from that.
Yeah. The odd thing is, I saw the clip. I didn't see the whole segment, but Trump came out to speak tonight. And, he was pretty calm, but he talked about, they're the party for the workers now.
Yeah, that's true. That realignment. We didn't even mention that. The realignment that happened, the black votes, the Hispanic votes.
30% of Jewish voters, I think the largest, if not ever, at least in the last 30 or 40 years, more black vote, more Hispanic vote, more, believe it or not, white men went down 5%. I read that wasn't in the same article, but he's picking up people that are joining the deplorables and the workers, and it's large segments of what seemingly seems to be white, suburbanites that are almost keeping down the workers. And hurting
and
them.
So someone else is going to come in. It may be a Candace Owens. I mean, that would be great. Somebody like that would be ideal. But to come in and to realign, I mean, it could be a Kanye. I mean, the guy's got he's way out there, but literally.
Yeah, he could be a revisor, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, we know from Trump, though, you don't need much more than an attitude anymore. Like, the country's so bad that, that the establishment is so bad that I wouldn't mind Kanye just to destroy people like Jim Comey. Like, that's their personal nightmare. You know what I mean? Yeah. If they hated Trump, can you imagine? They're like, can you imagine what Kanye would do to the intelligence establishment? I mean, it's unbelievable.
I think Candace Owens is a better candidate because of her life story and she can think on her feet.
She's incredible.
Those clips,
she's so good.
The government panels. So compare her to AOC.
Yeah,
I mean, AOC says some of the most unscientific. She drove out Amazon. Do you know how nice? Do you think every day Amazon must be saying, "Thank you that AOC made sure we didn't come in and kept 23,000 jobs whose average salary was $150,000." One of the marquee things that Bloomberg did was to get, they wanted a Stanford University type of university here in New York. So Cornell got it, and it partners with an Israeli, and it's on Governor's Island, not Governor's Island, on Roosevelt Island.
Yeah.
And the chairman of that school, they're trying to be a top intellectual, tech company, tech university for PhDs, but they needed more big companies. So Bloomberg bent over backwards and New York funded it, and the campus is built. Google used to host the campus. 23,000 jobs, average salary of $150,000 in Long Island City, so people could go from Long Island without having to come in Manhattan. It was going to create so many jobs in the community. And I think people thought that it was going to be a warehouse. Long story short, the board member he's on the board of, that's why I keep saying board. He's on the board of Amazon.
Yeah.
And he was head of the university. And when New York lost it, he resigned from the university. He had failed the job and he couldn't believe it. So now with COVID, it would have been nice to have 150,000 jobs in building going forward with a well-funded company. Let's say you're a doctor and your spouse is a computer programmer. You could work at Amazon. And now those jobs are gone. Amazon's not here, and they probably dodged a bullet because they would have paid real estate top level pre-COVID. And New York's really suffering. A lot of people are leaving. Hedge funds are leaving. $32 billion hedge fund moved from New York down to
Unbelievable.
And that 32 billion here and 32 billion there start adding up. That's Singer's hedge fund.
You might see that I'm typing away on my computer as we talk, because I just went over to our Facebook page after we were bashing Facebook for a while there. The Tom Shalhoub podcast page. I had to create a new page because my Tom Shalhoub show from Fox News, the page is shut down.
Okay.
So that's why I had to create this new page, because
Right.
I used to just post things on the Tom Shalhoub show page that had it has
I'll bring it up.
it has like hundreds of thousands of followers because it was the old Red Eye page. So I lost all those followers because Fox News shut down that. It was Red Eye. I converted it to the Tom Shalhoub show, but it's all owned by Fox News. So now I got to start from scratch here on Facebook. So that's why we're on the Tom Shalhoub show podcast. But I just went over there and I can see Corey Larson's in here, Patrick Lamar's in here, Tom Shalhoub. Oh, that's me, Tom Shalhoub. Tass is in watching. So we've got some people watching on Facebook already, even though I think I only have like 17 members of the podcast on Facebook. So
Just
Bruce,
and so I can pass the word. It's not Tom Shalhoub with Mean Dads Hurt Better America.
no, it's just a group. It's a group. It's a Facebook group because it's easy to post to a group from these live videos. So it's just called the Tom Shalhoub podcast.
Yeah, I got it up. Okay.
And but I'll just try to add people slowly. I don't really care because I don't care about numbers anymore. I don't care about anything. Like I don't care if I have like lots of hits or anything. It's just I do this for fun. And so the local site is a whole lot of fun because we're kind of creating this community, and it doesn't have any of the sour taste of Facebook or Twitter or anything else. And so anyway, I just wanted to kind of
No, I like it. I'll spread the
break
word.
out with this thing.
And I think though, if you we've covered some interesting ground from a point of view of what 50% of the United States citizens. I sort of have a new theme is that I've lived in Jersey City currently. I've lived with people from illegal immigrants when I was living in the house of an a separate apartment, but a house of young artists from mid-20s into the early 30s, from Africa, from Colombia, all around the world, India, and it was and to have someone, because I was supporting Trump, call me racist, where I'm the farthest thing from a racist person, and if anything, I love enabling people of all types and work together. And so my thing is, for all these people that are so anti-Trump, which includes the Never Trumpers, and a lot of people where all they say is you're racist if you support Trump. I mean, I know some people are so deranged with their hatred for Trump, and they think they're the most moral people on the planet. I'm literally going to call them. I think they're evil. I think these Trump haters that hate and think they're so more morally pure are actually evil. I think
It's also, I mean, they're obviously in
driving them without them knowing it. They're almost possessed in their hatred.
You know what's funny is that the people who were so fierce just a decade ago, or a little more than a decade now, you can remember during the Bush years, the people who hated Bush, we remember worst.president.ever period. And it was George W. Bush. He was a war criminal and all this other stuff. The Democratic Party at that time, for a good 5 years, almost 10 years, 5 to 10 years, the Democratic Party was nothing more than an anti-war party. All they wanted, they were Code Pink. Code Pink ran the Democratic Party the way that Black Lives Matter and Antifa runs them today, right?
Yep.
Code Pink should be happy with Trump. You know, what does Trump say at every rally? No more blood on the sand. He is doing what Code Pink, who was that woman? Remember Cindy Sheehan?
Yeah.
She used to camp out at the White House.
Yep.
Like, she said, I demand, Mr. Bush, that you withdraw troops from the Middle East. And I don't mean Iraq, I mean Afghanistan too. And people were like, oh, she was, she's so like anti-war. Yeah. Trump is a Code Pink president. And yet the same people, you realize they don't really have any guiding principles, because the same people who were they were an anti-war party are now an anti-Trump party, and he's anti-war. They don't really, there's nothing guiding them.
No, they're so ad hoc. And back then they were supporting Iraq, Iran, where they actually throw gay people off the roofs, and they were supporting them. That's where you get this left supporting really some militant Islamic terrorism. And then, as you just said, he's actually, and Trump has draped the rainbow flag around his shoulders. And I actually met a guy at a church, went to school with Don Jr. in New York City. He is a bearded man, always sharply dressed. I've had great discussions with him after different events. He was involved with the church, and I think sometimes collected the money as a and it turns out he's gay. I had no idea. And he says that,
Bruce, you just described a gay man to me. You're like, he's got a very neat beard. He's very very well dressed. I'm like, okay, get to the point. You're like, and it's surprisingly.
Well, I'm a little naive. I think I remember a bit you used to do about being at a reunion where you're talking to someone. Oh,
yeah.
But long story short, he was known to be gay in high school, and Trump was good friends with him. He actually talked to him all the time, never treated him differently. And the number of people I know that have a relative that worked for Trump, I know some people that have had problems getting paid, but one family member says he's great, the other's not. But I know a woman who's an engineer, hired in the 80s. She's a Democrat and has nothing but good say. Worked for his whole career. When no one else was hiring women, he's hiring women. And I always say, how does Oprah Winfrey have a racist on his show her show for 30 years? I think he did her show for 30 years. Huh. And I think when you treat him with respect and kind, if you look at his old videos, he sort of was a nice guy, and you could say his cockiness maybe grew and he's flashy, but if you don't, but he's a New Yorker that if you punch, he's going to punch you back twice as hard. And he's tough. And the one little segue, this is off on a tangent, but I've been nicknamed the Tangent Man, is one thing, when you build a building, especially in urban areas, it gets to the point where then when it's done, the height, they might still have to do the interior and the walls, the windows, they put a flag up. And I always think of John Adams, who says it is harder to build something than it is to tear down. And that's why the rule of law for him, he represented, John Adams, the British soldiers in the Boston Massacre, and proved them innocent.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He believed in the rule of law. And he was a little slower to come to the flashpoint of his cousin, Sam Adams. But my point is that Trump is a builder. He builds things and he works. He's not always doing things just talking to get votes, or he likes to build and get things done. Just like, I had a building outside my window, 22 stories. It went up to 57 all during the lockdown. I met the guy that poured all the cement, the guy in charge of the whole building. These guys are working hard throughout the whole thing. And it made me always just reflect about Trump is a builder. His buildings will be here a long time past the politicians that are just trying to get money for their foundation, pay-to-play deals, control companies by holding back spending. And Trump doesn't do that. He wants to
so funny. It's so true. That's one thing. I don't think Trump's going to start any world foundations. charity. He's not going to do any charity. He's going to be. He's going to just go back to golf courses. And everything.
Yeah, but he is. But but I agree. Anyway, that was a little
Well,
bit. Yeah.
No, I like it. I love the Tangent King, and I guess we'll wrap it up now because I want to go pour you can see I have all this wonderful alcohol behind me.
Yeah.
And I want to pour myself a cocktail. But
it's fun. So, but the one thing I do want to end with is Bannon says Trump is going to win. They control all the levers. I didn't realize that the Senate if it does get contested, the Senate elects the vice president. And the House.
Well, it's not the House. If it's
the House does the president. And the president of the United States will be Nancy Pelosi if a government is informed to hold the vote. Just so that her job is to be the president and acting president while they hold the vote, but that because of legislatures, the Republicans have all the votes in the House, even though it's not the House of Representatives voting, it's the I forgot the legal term, but Bannon said that all of the Republicans have more votes because I think it's selected by the governors of the states pick, and their representatives have to pick what the governor says.
Well, it's going to be. There's a lot coming down the pike, so we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But for anyone who's listening, I know we had some people over on Facebook, and hopefully I had a couple of my people over on Locals.
One more thing: 3 dates in December. There's 3 dates in December.
Yeah.
I think I take a picture. I wrote it down. There were 3 dates in December that the AP, the news organizations, don't declare a winner and say,
"Oh, I don't know why." Can we be done with this? We've called it. You know, Fox News now calls. Like, stop calling things. Like, that's not. There's no reason to do that.
Right? No, they don't. They can declare it. Biden. They can try to run. Charge the fortress and just declare it. But all the legal levers are. It's I actually just hit the wrong folder. It's the 3 dates are December 6th, 8th, and 14th. And it's all legal. And all the founders, John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, Madison, they're all lawyers. And they have it structured very much for this exact moment in a crisis. And it's going to be done by the courts and legally. And it doesn't matter what anyone declares. Of course, from a PR point of view, it would be good that that Trump wins Arizona and Nevada. And can count it officially. And I will say one thing: New York Times on their website hasn't. They're a little slow in updating, which I'm now appreciating. Relative to some. Anyway, that's it. So Bannon says we're winning, and it keeps my attitude right. But he does think because people are starting to show up in front of the courthouses, in front of the places, and in Arizona, and saying and demanding that their votes are counted.
Well, they're not,
votes are counted, not all votes, not the 100 from one guy in Philly.
At the very least, we have to have a war on this stupid mail-in voting. Everyone should vote on November 3rd. There should be no other voting, no mail-in voting. You have to go.
Yeah.
We need engaged citizens. Yeah. I don't want, somebody wrote in National Review, I think it was Andy McCarthy.
Yeah.
He said every vote doesn't count. Every vote doesn't count. Some of them are bad. And somebody who doesn't know the name of the vice president shouldn't be voting. He's like, there's a reason we have voter registration. You need to register. You need to have intention to vote. And they want, the idea that they register and cast their ballot, that's bad. They have to get rid of that. They have to get rid of the mail-in voting. They have to get rid of all that. And if you have any early voting, it has to be pre-approved, whether you're overseas or whatever. And they have to have a deadline. Like you can have early voting for people and you can say, but if you don't vote a week ahead of time, you're done with the early voting. Then you have to show up in person. You know what I mean?
Little tangent for a minute longer, maybe two. Along what you just said is that, the voting is really key to do it in person. And when people call the disenfranchised the buzzwords of the left, that, as Candace Owens says, I think we're quite capable, if we're black, to be able to get a driver's license, we can figure out how to register to vote. Yeah. It's almost,
disenfranchising is going to someone's apartment and saying, "Oh, is your brother here? Oh, he's not here. Let me fill out the ballot for him." You're taking away his humanity.
Or one of the things Trump said was tonight, disenfranchised is having fake polls get people discouraged. So maybe the popular vote would have been 2 million more because people in New York State, California that are Republicans, New Jersey, say I'm not voting. It's not mattering in my state anyway, but it would have been good for them to vote, but they're discouraged. So he actually said all these polls were in collusion to disenfranchise at a much larger schedule. And Tom, how many ID? What buildings can you go into New York City without an ID?
You can't go in without a strap and a stupid soggy mask on your face.
Exactly. Oh, you got it. I have to go to a scanner now, and if I don't have my mask on, it's no mask. So of course I have my mask, but it's sort of crazy. But really great time, and I love your. I'm going to end on do your little twist that if Trump does lose, I'm not going to put a hat on and scream, a pink hat.
Yeah.
I'm just going to work hard and join the resistance to make our voice heard that this has to end. And I think they have awoken a giant.
Yeah.
They have awoken a giant of the American people, which in their core know right from wrong, and how important their freedom is. And as Milton Friedman said, the more freedom you have, the more equality you have. If you want more, you try to force equality, you get less freedom and less equality.
Absolutely.
All right, man. It was really fun talking with you, Tom.
Yes, it was great. I'm gonna I won't even remove you from this. Sometimes you take the people out, and then I'm just gonna press end broadcast, and we will let's do the acapella because it's just become a
Love
thing.
it. Yeah, it's your
Walk week.
I never.
I don't know. I think I did that one day. I got to do a better one, but it serves its purpose. Okay, Bruce, we'll talk soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.